Greetings, and once again, welcome into Recruiting Hot Topics. I'm Channel 2 Sports Director Zach Klein, joined by the one, the only, Michael Carvell, the recruiting blogger for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And Michael, let's get right to it. Tonight's game featuring Tyler Queen, the North Cobb junior quarterback who is committed to Auburn. What do you like about him in his game?
Zach, what a year we've had for quarterbacks on our Friday night games this season. We've had Gainesville's Deshaun Watson, who is committed to Clemson, and Sandy Creek's Cole Garvin, who will play at Marshall. Now tonight we've got Tyler Queen, who is one of the state's top juniors. He's a pocket passer with some nice size. Auburn, they saw enough of Tyler to make him an early offer as a junior, and last summer he committed. Tyler Queen was also being recruited by Clemson and Alabama, among others. He's a good one.
Yeah, to say the least. All right, let's shift gears and talk about Georgia. What a week they had, this past Saturday. Huge win over LSU. And at that game, so many of the top Southeast recruits in action at Sanford Stadium checking out this game. Will a big win like this help them in recruiting? If so, how does it get done?
Zach, I've had a couple of recruits tell me that the LSU-Georgia game was one of the best atmospheres they've ever experienced for a college football game. I know you liked it. We all did. It was exciting. It was loud from start to finish. It was an exciting game until the end, and it was a signature win for Mark Richt. As far as recruiting, I don't think many recruits make a college decision based on the results of one game, unless, of course, Zach, it's the national championship game. So as far as a direct impact, I don't see much of one, but indirectly, it proved to many of those elite prospects that Georgia is a perennial top 10 program, that the fans really support the team. Zach, it was a good moment for the Bulldogs.
I remember talking to former Bulldog quarterback DJ Shockley. He said of all the years he has spent in Athens, that was the most electric environment he has ever seen. Unbelievable atmosphere last Saturday at Sanford Stadium. All right, again, they picked a pretty good time to get that good win because the state's top two overall prospects, Norcross defensive end Lorenzo Carter and Liberty County linebacker Raekwon McMillan, were both at the LSU game. What's the latest between the Bulldogs and these two blue chippers?
Zach, talk about some star power. Lorenzo Carter was there, and that was his second visit to Georgia in a month. He was also at the South Carolina game, and it's always big when you have the state's #1 prospect showing up on campus for unofficial visits. Carter has Georgia, Florida, and Alabama as his leaders right now. With Raekwon McMillan, he was at Georgia on an official visit, and some people consider the Bulldogs to be a long shot with Raekwon, but he was really impressed with the trip. The Bulldogs now have moved into his top 3 along with Clemson and Ohio State. And Zach, I know you're excited about this. We'll be talking about both of those guys for the next 3 to 4 months because they're going to wait until signing day probably to announce.
As always, Michael Carvell, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time. We'll see you next week right here on Recruiting Hot Topics.